Hi, my name is Sergeant Jim Wagner. I'm a law enforcement officer in the United States. Many of you know me from my many DVDs and articles I write for Budo magazine. And I'm here today because I'm introducing a friend of mine, Sergeant Uri Cafe. Now, all of you know I teach the reality-based personal protection system based on law enforcement, correction, military units, and of course the martial arts. Now, there's many people out there teaching what they call Israeli martial arts. And there's a lot of instructors out there. However, many of these instructors have never been to Israel. They've never been in an Israeli military unit. They never have been an officer there. And so a lot of these people are phony. Well, the man, Uri Cafe, and the Sergeant Uri Cafe is not a phony. How do I know? Because when I was in Israel training for the Israeli government, he was one of the guys I hooked up with. I've trained with him on military bases. I've trained with him in police stations. I've trained with him at the Tel Aviv University. And this guy is the real deal. And what he's going to teach you dealing with Israeli firearms disarms is going to probably save your life if you're ever confronted with a criminal or terrorist. So I hope you enjoy this DVD, and it's definitely reality-based.
You! Hey, to the car right now! Hey, stay away!
Don't move or shoot.
Hi, my name is Uri Cafe. I'm a current Kapop instructor in the United States for the last 2 years. I've studied under Lieutenant Colonel Chaim Pe'el and under Major Avi Nardia from Yamam, Israeli Special Forces Anti-Terror Unit. Today in this video, we're going to show you the principal guidelines and features of weapons disarming. Part of our system, CQB, which is a military term for close quarter combat. Part of our tapes that we're going to include today would be disarming a weapon, a firearm, mainly pistols, but we're also going to talk on the difference between weapons. As like I said before, it's part of our system, part of our modern martial arts training. We got a few guidelines that we're going and we're sticking to those guidelines. Pretty much is like our mottos. It's rather be a student of reality, the master of illusion. And also another term that we're using is it's better to be a student most of the time and sometimes just to be a teacher. Pretty much for that tape, we got another motto that we're going to stick to is a firearm will run out of ammo. Edged weapon will not. Part of our martial arts training is to make a difference and to evaluate the weapon to see what we can overcome and what is going to create a problem for us. And in this video, you will see the principle, and also it's going to break a lot of myths about a lot of other systems that you would actually see, and it would be easy for you to identify mistakes as far as weapon disarming and other martial art, and you would identify the mistakes according to our current guidelines. Okay, we're going to start talking about the 7 principles, the 7 guidelines of gun disarming. The first rule, that without it everything else is no significance at all, is the field of fire. The field of fire is something that I will emphasize all the time. We got to keep that first rule. If that rule is not established, then everything else has no use. It is the core of every technique of a gun disarming, stepping out of the field of fire. I will start in a very submitting position when my hands are up. Not like so. I want to keep them close because from here I got to operate the technique. I have to have my hands close to my body. The next stage is clearing out the field of fire. First guide rule, move my body out of the way. I don't know what kind of projectile is it. That's why we call it field of fire, not line of fire. Maybe it's a fragmentation. Maybe it goes everywhere. Maybe it's a single projectile. I do not know that. Got to keep my other hand clear and out of the way. You can see also as I divert Mark's hand, I give him a little bit of a pull and get him out of balance. Okay, let's continue to talk about the field of fire. Stepping out the field of fire, like I mentioned, it's the core of the technique of any gun disarming we're going to perform today. Okay? Starting again from a position, my hands are closed towards my body. I have to operate quickly from here. I don't have time to raise them up. From submissive position, a non-aggressive position. I'm going to step out, field of fire. It's important to check that all my limbs are tucked in and not in the way. I give my attacker a slight pull. As I reach up, I block the hammer from striking the firing pin, turning inside my attacker's body. Now, as you can see, even if a misfire goes, it would go directly into his body. If not, my thumb is always going to be in the way between the firing pin and the hammer. The most significant part is to get out of field of fire, blocking the hammer or creating the misfire into his body. Later on, I can add knees, headbutts, elbows, shoulder bumps, but before that, the guideline. Step out the field of fire, trapping in. You can either trap or discharge it into his body.